right, here we go. Single player microtransactions. Love them or hate them.
And the next topic is... No, carry on, George.
I mean, just talk about it. It's sad because I was really looking forward to this game. I really liked the first one. And it just seems like there's just this landslide that keeps coming along with this game.
It's PR. PR has got their hands into it, and they need to be cut off at the knees.
This is also Shadow of War, I take it.
Correct.
They're going full belt then. I mean, Warner Brothers have always been a bit strange with certain bits of DLC. But then again, they have been a very consistent publisher and, I suppose father or mother or whatever parent company of solid developers. They've been quite consistent. I think this is the first time they've pulled this, although they were really, really solid advocates of the season pass, single-use season pass online thing back in the day, back when I was working in the shops.
I mean, for me, as I tweeted out, it's a disgusting trend in multiplayer. I say it for me, in my personal opinion, it's a disgusting trend in multiplayer games. To have it in a single-player game is abhorrent. It's just, there's no need for it. You are literally there to fleece money from the gamers. Just call it as it is. You're there to get more money for fleecing, for the sake of it.
Can you explain the mechanics behind this? I mean, all I've heard is that there's literally loot boxes. The first thing that sprung to mind was the paying for extra drones in Dead Space 3.
Right. So in Shadow of War, you can buy loot boxes that contain equipable items. Also in Shadow of War, you have kind of like this army aspect to it that you can also modify a little bit. So you can also actually like end up getting more powerful orcs for your army. Now, the thing that they stated was that all these things that you can get in loot boxes, you can technically get to the game. It just, quote unquote, takes longer.
Grind.
Right. And I mean, this isn't the first time we've seen this type of thing. Ubisoft has always done something to the extent of you being able to buy items in their Assassin's Creed games. They did the same thing in the last Deus Ex game. But it's such a disgusting trend. And I just was like, really, why? Why did they do this?
I agree.
I mean, what's interesting, I hadn't heard about this Deus Ex thing, and I consider myself very, very engaged with the industry, but I'd seen zero reaction to that. I saw when people talk about Deus Ex, they talk about the amazing level design and the visuals, and I've not heard anyone talk about these almost, what I'm guessing are kind of like shortcut packs, similar to the fast forward or... I can't remember what it was called.
What it is for the Deus Ex is you get Abraxas points, and basically this unlocks a perk within your system, within your body, which you can then use to do things. And here, instead of going through the game and finding this Abraxas points, and searching for it, which then leads you onto other areas, leads you onto different missions. So it's it's part and parcel of the game. You could circumvent that by a whole load of Abraxas points and be this beefed up character straight from the off, but it would cost you.
Oh, but there's one thing you forgot to mention. They were also only one single time use. It would only one save file. If you wanted to start over again, you'd have to purchase it again. It's so freaking stupid.
Does this, not to be a right pain in the bottom, but does this not tie into that first conversation that we had about Hellblade and accessibility for people? Because if in Hellblade, for instance, people's saves are being deleted and people have problems with that, they feel like they can't complete the story because their entire save is being deleted and they're being penalized for not being great at the game, which obviously, as we said, didn't turn out to be that. But if people are complaining about that, then surely people should be complaining about the fact that they're actually being charged for an easier mode, essentially an easier playthrough of games in buying this Lord of the Rings crate, or this Dead Space extra little robot to go off and gather resources, or this Deus Ex practice point.
I think that's what's come around. I think that's why the internet, in one big almighty, literally what we did, sighed, just went, ugh. They could see exactly what it was about. I think what the problem, I think, or the worry, I think they come is it's become a trend, and so what they do is, you can get these extra armies, you can get extra points. Why don't you spend money? So what they do to encourage you to do that is that they make the game more grindy than what it originally would have been, and that is what they don't detest. They just don't make the game. Don't push the game to become a worse game just because you want to sell more stuff. What's the knock-on effect on the actual gameplay? Is it going to be a bad knock-on effect because they're trying to push you into paying for more stuff, which it seems like they generally are.
I agree, and the problem is that people can now see that people are now, I suppose, smart enough to see, or I suppose they always have been, and this is just a new thing, but people can see that this is the start of something that could snowball. And so that's why people speak out against it, because they can see those tiny little instances that could possibly snowball into something bigger.
Exactly. As Trench probably going to say, is what stops it from happening on another game. If this happens on this one, it's going to happen on another one, because I think I heard it as a PR. It's saying it's money on the table, and that's what they see it as. They see it as money on the table. So why shouldn't they pick it up? They don't see it from any other perspective. And if they can get away with it one game, they will try and get away with the next game. And before you know it, every game will have a loot box in it. It doesn't matter what it is, it will just have a loot box in it with most microtransactions.
And that is the nightmare scenario right there. That is the terrifying nightmare scenario. The thing is that they do keep making them. So is anybody buying them? Is there, my challenge to you would be, is there any way to look at this in a positive light, or is this just all just greed and money grabbing?
That's exactly what it is. It's just money grabbing. And the thing is, if it does start snowballing and gets more in PC gaming and things like that, PC gaming marketplace is going to end up like the mobile marketplace. Because every single mobile game that you buy has microtransactions in it. And how many of them are multiplayer? Not many. They might have a Facebook link so you can see your friends' scores or what level they're on, but they're not multiplayer games. They are just pay-to-win games.
Exactly. I think, however, there is a bit of a light, and I'm probably being the devil's advocate here. There is a bit of a light, is that generally the people buying this are of the younger generation. The people older are just going, no chance. And maybe the potential is that as you get older, you'll start to realise you've got more other things going on, you've got more money spending elsewhere, that you won't actually use it. So for me, I see this as being aimed at the younger generation, which has a flexible amount of cash to spend. I think as you get older, you start to realise this trend and go, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to spend it. Why should I?
All I heard then was bloody millennials ruining our games. In my day, we didn't have microtransactions.
Come on, Toby, you want to jump in here, defend yourself here, man? Come on, Toby.
Hey, I don't like microtransactions either.
Then you're
this isn't
one of
me,
the
this
good
is you
ones.
guys. Hey, millennials aren't the game developers, it's you lot who are making them.
Oh, good point.
Hey.
This is well, actually, it's not even the developers, it's the PR. Let's be honest here.
No. I think even that is harsh on PR, but I know what you mean. I know, not to put words in your mouth, but when you say PR, you obviously mean the entire marketing department, and almost effectively the CEO. It's almost the marketing direction rather than the PR, because PR are often just a small team that were hired from outside to just get the word out to people, whereas you mean the general kind of marketing, the general kind of this is the way we can...
I retract my PR statement and target it as general marketing, just in case there's any PR people who are listening to this and thinking, well, that seemed cut off. But yes, I agree. It's just the marketing directive. My worry is today's gaming generation, and maybe this is why we're having a big influx of retro, is in my head, or at least the way I'm seeing things done by the AAA games, it's right, this is a big cash cow. How can we get people to spend money into it? And then let's put a story behind it, where it seems more of the retro based is, this is a great retro game. How can we make it fun? And then how do we charge people for it? It's almost a flip on its head.
Ad-free.
And usually those indie retro people don't charge much for it because they're friendly types and good eggs.
but the issue is that as new games come out that add these kind of like time saver, and they'll pitch them as time savers. They'll say, hey, by the way, you know, I understand you've got a busy life. You work a 60-hour job for a boss who doesn't appreciate you. So why not spend £30 extra with us? And instead of having to grind all the way up to level 30, you'll be level 30 straight away. And you can just breeze the story and take it at the pace that you want, you know. And how do people face that? Because that is essentially what that offering of an easy mode or a story mode is what people were crying out for with the Hellblade situation.
I think that's exactly that. But I think that is certain for a certain age, because I think, as you said, if being probably one of the oldest guys in the group, you know, that when I look at 30 quid coming out of my account, that's 30 quid that, you know, isn't going towards a bill.
Yeah, I mean,
so for me,
I'm an old man. I literally count my spend in weeks of food shopping. So literally we sit down every week and we go, right, £45, that's the budget. So if I see a new game come out and it's 45 quid, I go, right, well, that's a week that I could have fed my family for. Do I want my family to starve for a week? And I know that's me just being an old so-and-so, but you know, that's,
but this is what I said, it's a generational thing.
It's done to me. Yeah.
As you're younger, you say maybe in your 20s. So again, you know, I mean, this is not everybody. I'm kind of guessing. I mean, Toby will probably be able to give us some more insight on this one. You've got more flexible funds, I suspect. So you think, oh, actually, that's quite correct. Yeah, they're right. I could save a bit of time here. You know,
I can pretty much confirm that young people don't have flexible funds. And to be honest with you, every generation for the last probably 4 generations has been accidentally shafting the generation under. You know I said I didn't prescribe to generations, but like life has been getting harder, even though the world has been getting smaller and seemingly better for us, you know. But, you know, there's so many of us living under a weird fluctuating poverty barrier. I wouldn't be surprised if all of us here are literally counted as living in poverty by our relative governments.
This is getting dark again.
Sorry, I got political. Bleeding Heart Sullivan crops out. But yeah, no, I think money is still tough. I'm going to stop talking for Toby, but
yeah, Toby, yeah. You tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I never buy microtransactions. I think maybe you've bought like a loot box now and then, but kind of you can either get a game or you can get a shorter game, the game you already have. I think it is a trend among the younger millennials to buy this sort of stuff, but definitely not me. And well, food is more important than playing half a video game.
See, I think my major problem isn't my major problem isn't the fact that you can pay to skip over the early parts of the game or get an advantage or whatever. My problem is simply the price of the stuff now. I mean, stuff like this has been around for a long time. You know, you could buy a game and then go online and buy the Time Saver DLC, and it might cost you £3, and it just opens up all the unlocks without you having to work for them. That, perfectly fine. But when you're paying like £30 or whatever for something, or you know, it's something that you have to constantly buy, like loot boxes and things like that, that's when it becomes a real problem.
So you're putting it in as it's the actual cost of the time saver item rather than the actual act itself.
Yeah, I mean, the act itself, I completely understand. I mean, I think, like you're saying, you know, younger generation might just want to do it, but also for us older people, like you mentioned, we don't have as much time to play games. So even for our generation, that is still a temptation. It's just the price problem. Like I was saying, I wouldn't mind paying, you know, £2.50, £3 to unlock all the unlockables in a game. That's not a problem to me. But you know, either constantly having to buy loot boxes because they expire, or you know,
I'm very surprised about that. Being as you said, you know, regarding the Hellblade thing, you know, being of a generation who had, you know, one game save, I would have expected you to be abhorrent by any of, you know, extras or whatsoever. You should be like, this is a game, this is how it's boxed in it, this is how it's complete. Anything else is a second game or a third game.
I do think that the big issue that dominates the Hellblade situation is the story in the game. The fact that it's relatively story-driven and there are cinematics that apparently couldn't be skipped. Although, once again, it's not relevant now because it all turned out to be a bit of a farce. But that would be my main reason for, going, hey, you know what? I'm enjoying this permadeath mode, but yeah, I'm going to pay £2 for the story mode because I can only die on this so many times because I've got a million games coming out every week and I need to, crack on.
So in a roundabout way, are we saying that microtransactions, and I'm going to kind of be devil's advocate, is acceptable depending on the price?
I've changed my mind. No, it's rubbish. They should be unlockable bonuses at the end. You should literally be able to... You should play through the game without getting shot in the left-hand side and unlock big head mode. And then you should be able to go through the game in big head mode and unlock floaty body mode and all of the other mutators. And then paintball mode comes afterwards. And then this and that. And then all of a sudden, boom, you get a two-player mode that was hidden in there all along. And you just played for 30 hours to unlock two-player mode. And nobody on the internet spoiled it for you.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's obviously that flip side as well, where companies do the whole thing, but they do it backwards. So, like with Capcom with Street Fighter V, there's obviously tons and tons of DLC for new characters and things like that, but you can unlock them through playing the game. There's still that option, but they've framed it the opposite way round. They've gone, here's the DLC, but you can unlock it. Not you can unlock all this stuff, or you can buy the DLC to get it now. They've framed it backwards, and I think, in a way, that framing makes it sound better in today's market. Because obviously, in today's market, you're used to going, right, here's a game, here's the DLC, here's another one, here's another one. If you want the full experience, you have to buy all the DLCs. Whereas framing it as, yeah, you can buy the DLCs, but if you want to, you can work at it and unlock them at your own pace. That's fine. And I think that framing it that way round, just to my generation, sounds better. It's like you can buy it, but you can also do what you used to do and just unlock it as you go along.
Well, I think we should have somebody check on Dan because I think he regressed into the 90s. Are you okay, Dan?
I'm absolutely fine. I've been thinking since my last statement, which corrected my statement before, and I've decided to correct my last statement that corrected my statement before. And I just want to briefly ask everybody here, did any of you play Marvel vs. Capcom 2?
Yes.
Yes, I did. I still do quite regularly.
Do you remember the joy of playing that stupid, bloody, almost a mini-game to unlock an extra character or unlock an extra skin that you really didn't need, and so you kind of shuffled it to get another character?
Yeah, it was kind of fun. And in games like that, I think it works. In the same vein of something like Smash Brothers, we had to do the stupid hit in the sack a certain amount of time or play the story mode to unlock new characters. I think for my generation, that kind of stuff we enjoy doing. It's just one of those things that we've always had. We are used to working for stuff, but I do also see the benefits of being able to buy your way in, as long as that's not prohibitively costly, or in the case of loot boxes and things like that, expendable, as it were. So they run out.
Yeah, I mean, with Marvel vs. Capcom, when I played that back on the Dreamcast, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, it was such an amazing game, and I sat there for hours. I was still a student, I think, at the time, and I sat there for hours and hours, and I played it, a bit like Power Stone 2, which, honestly, there needs to be a Power Stone 3, but yeah, a bit like Power Stone 2, and I sat there and I got every single thing through hard work and graft, but I don't have the time now. So right now, if somebody said like, hey, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is available on PC, you should all buy it, I'd be like, hey, I should all buy it. And then I'd buy the game and I'd go, right, okay, I'm going to unlock this character and this character and this character because those were my killer free, and I'd probably do that. And then if it said like, you can unlock everyone else for an extra £3, I'd probably do it. I'm not going to lie. I'd probably just go, yeah, unlock everyone else because I've got what I wanted. I played the game a little bit, and now I just want to, gun through it and enjoy it and have good memories. And in many ways, like if I'm rebuying a game, if I'm buying a game that I've bought before and I'm spending another £5 on a game or another £7 on a game, in my mind, it's like, you know what? I've already blown £7 on this game, and I bought it for £40 when it came out the first time, if not more. So I think I can blow a little bit more to get that quality of content that I had before.
You know what I think is funny is that all of you, when we first started the subject, went, meh, and then you've all kind of selectively talked yourselves into it.
No, I'm still
sorry.
100%. I'm sorry, 100% still for me. I just don't see it.
Okay.
Also, sorry, Stefan, just to interrupt you there. How about games such as League of Legends and Dota, where the game itself is free, but you buy into your characters that you want to use? How does that fit on your radar?
That's fine because it's that's the model it's meant to be for. It's not
exactly. Yeah,
it's not trying to hide itself as anything else.
It's exactly like Paladins.
Yeah.
Because at the moment I'm playing Paladins now. I haven't bought the game. I'm grinding for the characters. At any point, I can spend money and buy the Founders Pack, and that's free forever. I haven't done that actually. I did it for Smite, but on this one I thought no, that is making the game even more playable for me because I've set my sights. It's a target for me. It's like, right, I've got this character. I now need to grind for money and get that character because I've seen that person play it. You can actually play the characters in tutorial mode, and they do have rotating characters anyway. But it's given me, for that sort of model, it's given me a challenge every time to move forward. The other ones, all they're doing is just trying to get money out of you. And that is that's the one thing that kind of sticks at the back of my throat. We know you're just doing it to get money.
Yep, agreed. I mean, I think with League of Legends, you can actually buy the game for about 40 quid and you get everything, and that's perfectly fine because you're not spending over the top.
But the skins and that you have to work for. You have to try,
But skins, that's a completely different thing. That's not changing the game at all. It's changing the visuals. That is completely optional. You don't need it to make. It doesn't make you better in the game. It doesn't give you any more abilities. It's just visuals. That's purely optional. So I'm perfectly fine with.
Yeah, exactly. I can be happy with. I'm not too bad, but I'm fine with that because it's up to you what you choose. It's a skin. It doesn't affect the game whatsoever. If it affects the game and you have to pay for it to affect the game, that's when I think it's abhorrent.
Yep, agreed completely.
I just want to bring up. We have a lot of other subjects to talk about, so I'll just make this little quick. But there is one game that kind of did that. It kind of pissed me off, which was Smash Brothers, the most recent one. They had characters that you could buy for DLC, and it was ridiculous. It's like, yes, I understand you get a bunch of characters for free, but they also started adding characters that you had to pay for, like Ryu and then Cloud and then Bayonetta, and it was just blah.
See, could you not grind for them then, or you just had to physically pay for them?
You had to physically pay for them.
See, that's awful. You see, I think if you grind for them, again, it's like it's setting a target. You want that character. You work your ass off to get it. If it's just there, it's behind a paywall. It's just more money, isn't it?
But nobody called Nintendo out on that when they did it. Nonetheless,
I think with Nintendo though, it's kind of expected.
It's not only that, but like you said earlier, Nintendo fans are generally hardcore Nintendo fans, and Nintendo cannot do any wrong in their eyes.